This week's episode of Reppin the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh is sponsored by NAMI Northern Illinois. NAMI is dedicated to improving the lives of individuals and families living with mental illness. Since 1984, the volunteers and staff at NAMI Northern Illinois have been serving Winnebago, Boone, and surrounding counties in our region. Created by a small group of families who are passionate about improving care for their loved ones. That small group has grown into one of the most vibrant NAMI affiliates in Illinois.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to episode 3 of season 2 Reppin the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh. I am one of your co-hosts, John Broda, and today with me we have George, Josh, and a special guest. Want to say hello, guys?
Hey, what's up, John? Excited
John,
to be here.
guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Good. And Josh, who's our guest today?
So our guest is someone that's pretty special to me. She's a pretty big, influential person, I'd say, here in the Stateline area. We've known each other for 20 plus years, right? But she is someone that I feel like you guys in the Stateline area really need to know, right? Really need to learn what she does, the services that she can provide, because they're very beneficial. It's Danielle Angileri with NAMI Northern Illinois Alliance of Mental Illness. So Danielle, welcome to Reppin the Stateline with the guys.
You're making
Danielle.
me blush. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Danielle. We are so appreciative that you could take some time to sit and talk with us today. So NAMI, I'm going to just jump right in. NAMI, so that's National Alliance on Mental Illness, correct? Northern Illinois. All
Yes.
right. And what, for people that don't know what NAMI is, what is that?
So yeah, we're a small affiliate of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So the group's mission is just building better lives for people touched by mental illness, whether that's individuals themselves or family members. We don't provide clinical services, but we do a lot of the support, education, advocacy around that. We offer a lot of referrals, provide a lot of resources and tools to our community as well. So just a little bit of everything.
Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Because if somebody, and I'm asking this question because it hits personally for me. I've had family members that have issues with mental illness. When we like, you'd be a resource then to find out where services are if you didn't know where to go.
Yes, definitely. I feel like a lot of times people call us and we're really like their first step almost. They're not really sure what to expect. Either that or, it's people that have been navigating the system for a long time and they're like, I'm kind of out of options here. Do you have any other things that we can try together? And then also like supporting and educating the family unit as well.
That's awesome.
Right. Well, I wish I would have
some-
known about you guys years ago.
Yeah, I have definitely questions for you. But before we dive into that, let's do our usual recap of the last week. We had a great weekend, I should say. Stroll on State happened. We had the ever famous Bears Jets game that we were anticipating for a while, John, you and I. And
Yeah,
yes,
I was surprised you wanted to talk about that.
Hey, I said it from the get-go. I was not going to be upset if the Bears lost because they have now secured the number 2 overall draft pick for next year. And that is very lucrative position to be in considering we have our quarterback. Well, that's all I got to say on that, but it was a fun game.
No, all week long, George has been busting chops about the turf at the Meadowlands. So, I mean, it's not my fault. His team can't run. Like they don't know how to run. They don't know how to pivot. They get injured without anybody even near them. No contact injuries. So I'm just saying we're having a great year. It might be the first time if we beat the Vikings this weekend. It'll be the first time.
Brees Hall?
You're about to be flexed.
What happened to Brees Hall?
Oh, stop it. Just leave it
alone. Wait.
You guys are about to be flexed to what, Sunday night?
Yes, they're talking about flexing to a national game.
Well,
The
it's
Jets have
not-
not been on national TV since
The
2011.
Bears have been on national TV. Bears have been on national prime time like 4 times this year, and they lose every time. But there's
Except
one
for
thing
the
that
Patriots.
you're right.
and Bears.
All right, but there's one thing we did forget that I think is a huge kind of thing to say, especially with us kind of having more structure in season 2. This is our first ever of the series with an interviewee. I don't know what we're really calling. Not really calling. We don't have a name for it yet. So if anyone out there that's listening has a clever name, kind of like our sitting and sipping episodes, this season we will have 3 interviews throughout the whole season. So I think
I'm suggesting we just call it like a conversation with Danielle, and I just put her up there, and then the next time we have somebody, we have a conversation with that person. I think that would be a way that people would know exactly what it is then. So they could have, they could hear a conversation, or they could hear us just banter about nonsense.
Yep.
It's the conversation.
So Danielle, how was your week? What did you do this weekend?
This
Did you guys
weekend,
did you go to Stateline State? Any fun stuff you attend?
we went to the Ice Hogs game on Friday. I did not go to Shoreline State. I'm sorry to have missed it.
How did the ice hockey game go?
Went pretty well.
I know
Lots of goals were scored.
How do you personally feel about the new mascot?
Oh my gosh, it's awful. He's terrifying.
Like, if you didn't have
There's a
issues,
big debate. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's scary. Fine, you want to slim him down and make a healthy hammy, that's fine. But that face is just like, it's like serial killer. It's just, I can't
So
deal with it.
I know Hammy the Hog personally. I know him pretty well. And he did say that they are not getting rid of that uniform. It was like $15,000 for the whole thing. But they did say maybe at the end of the season, they're going to refine it and kind of change a little.
Whoever
petition
greenlit
against
that,
it.
whoever greenlit that uniform should be fired. I'm just calling for it right now.
It's just the face. It's
The face, yeah, just change the head.
I think it's the mouth. I think it's the mouth region that's really getting everybody. Not necessarily like the face itself. I think it's like the middle like mouth region. So
Can we pull up a picture here so we all have reference?
Yes, pull up the picture.
I will insert the picture for the release on the YouTube channel. I will edit in a picture of Pammy.
Okay,
right
please,
here.
George, have a picture for this, because oh my
Will do.
goodness. So you went to the game on Friday. Anything big on the weekend, Danielle? Anything else? Just relaxing?
Just relaxing. Yeah, after the holiday.
Did you
Kind
go
of
away
felt
for
good.
Thanksgiving, or did you have like people over your place?
No, we went to my grandfather's house and also Garrett's grandma's house too.
All right.
So
So,
stayed
and
local.
for those that don't know, Garrett, he was the 4th person at our tailgate with the tailgate video that's on Reppin the Stateline Facebook page. So if you want to see Garrett,
Correct.
go there. He predicted a mighty Bears victory for that day, and we lost just by a hair to the Lions. So it was a rough day.
It's okay. Do you know? I will tell you this. Did you know that? Okay, so we have the 2nd overall pick. Do you any guesses as to if we have one more win right now, what pick we are in the draft?
If you get one more win.
So if we had one win, so say we beat the Lions or we beat the Jets, we have one more win right now. What pick do you think the Bears have as of right now going into the
10th. Oh,
9th? It's a big
That's
deal.
close.
7 spots just because we continue to lose, and we got our guy. That's all that matters. All right, enough about the Bears.
My week,
Yes,
my
please.
week last week was like not fun, but like fun at the same time. My kids have been sick since like the beginning of November, so it's like we're stuck in the house. But the cool part though was like all 3 of my kids fell asleep at about 6:45 every night last week. So me and my wife actually had like 3 hours a day of uninterrupted kid time, where we just like we talked, bullshit.
Kid time.
Like
You mean
we
adult
watched a
time?
movie.
adult time, yes. Like
Adult
no kids,
time.
No,
Like,
no
it was
kid
just
time.
time.
Like we actually, no joke though, we actually watched like 3 Christmas movies from start to finish with no interruptions. It was probably the most attention I've ever had in a long time.
That's awesome.
But then I smoked a turkey on Wednesday, as you guys know, and I think that might have been my best turkey I've ever made yet. All 18 pounds of it was gone real quick. And then we did go on to Stroll State on Saturday.
How was that?
The parade was pretty cool. Santa Claus there was really cool. He is one of our representatives from here in Rockford.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yes, he did a very good job. I saw the video clips after, and
him and his wife.
I mean, Mr. West is like, love him or hate him based on politics. His heart's in the right place always. The guy cares about the community he serves. So, and I always say good things about anybody that steps up and cares about their community.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I
We did
will-
that.
Out Rep West.
Yeah. And then there was a new food truck I never had down there. It was Perk and Pickle. Never had them before, but man, they busted out it was 70% brisket, 30% ground beef burgers with garlic fries, had like garlic aioli on it. I mean, it was pretty darn good.
Where are they out of?
I don't know.
We'll have to
It
check them
literally
out.
was a white trailer with a dill pickle logo that looked like a magnet, and it just said Perk and Pickle. Like, that was it.
Pickle.
Okay.
All right.
And then me and my son went to the Angileri Erickson residence Sunday for football.
Oh, that's right. Because you did call us, and Garrett was there, and Garrett was still upset that I was okay with losing. I
Yeah.
remember this.
Yes, Garrett is still upset that you're okay with being a loser.
Hey, I do have something to add that I forgot about last weekend. So
Okay.
and it deserves a shout out at this point. Rockford Community Bank, they're in town. It's a extension of Wintrust. They're off of Perryville, right across the street from Associated, right next to Meyer. It's that newer bank that was under construction for a while. They are really putting on good stuff for the community involvement. I went in there, took my kids there. I don't haven't opened accounts there yet, but I am convinced now I'm going to be joining their bringing my accounts over to that bank, because I'm just impressed with how community involved they are. And they had an event on Saturday. They brought out reindeer. They had reindeer to pet for kids and Santa Claus, and they had a whole coffee bar for adults and a whole hot cocoa bar for the kids. Very welcoming. And I was reading up on a lot of the stuff that they have there, and they have a program for adults over 50 where you could travel. They call it like platinum, something to do with platinum, but you could just go on trips out of the country. They put together trips for their seniors to just get together and go places and vacation. Totally different.
Right.
Like, I was not expecting to have all these little programs, kid programs, all these things. Shout out to Rockford Bank, or Rockford Community Bank here in town.
And I'll give you the shout out for Rockford Community Bank, but slow yourself just a little bit. You said for their seniors, and you said 50. You said for 50-year-olds and seniors, and I'm like just 6 months off of that.
That's
So
what
I'm
they
not
Oh,
consider
baby, the 30, 40, 50 club. John,
That's what the
You might not get
I
to hit
read
from
the
the
fine
gold
print.
tees, but you get to join the 50 club at Rockford Community Bank, baby.
There you go. But I can't hit from the gold tees for at least another 20 years.
15 years.
15 years. But John, I definitely think we should tag. We have some friends that
Yep.
do work there, that are involved in the same chamber that we are. So tag some of those people and shout out to them. I think what they're doing is great, and I can't wait to join and be a member of theirs, or a customer of theirs. That really sums up this last week. It was a busy week, holiday week. Had a lot of fun, a lot of relaxation, family time, fun time with friends. Got to watch my Bears lose again,
Yep.
and on to this week. So
On to our conversation with Danielle.
yes.
Like, I mean,
So
she's been
I
sitting
had a
here
question.
patiently.
True. I had a question for Danielle. So does your services include, so is it mental illness, but also like mental health?
Yes.
Okay, so I will be one to confess that I suffer from mental health issues. I have, and I did a post about it a year ago, just kind of letting people know that, I do have anxiety and severe anxiety to where I'm medicated for it. And it is no joke for 100%. So a lot of what you guys do should absolutely be taken serious. And for me, it's close to home. So I commend you that you have this passion for NAMI and being a part of their group. I know that it does a lot more than just the anxiety, but the fact that it covers pretty much anybody with mental health, mental illnesses is a pretty awesome thing. Now, one question that I had for you is, if you were to pick one thing, what would be your one thing that's most favorite for you about what you do?
Good question. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. My favorite thing that I do, I think it would just be being able to talk through different situations with people and being able to provide them answers and like just giving people the hope that they need to keep continuing their journey, whatever that might be. I think that's the most special part. And really, I think our organization is mostly peer led. So it's either family members that are caregivers, or they're people living with an illness themselves. And I think that working amongst peers, like having the people in those shoes, really guiding the work is special too.
It's awesome.
So I have a question for you, Danielle. So what drove you into this career path? I'm sure you're very passionate about it. I mean, you're the executive director here in town. But what brought you to this choice and to this group, this organization?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people ask me kind of why, like, what's my story type deal. So I've very much so always been really interested in how people work or how they think, why they do what they do, but also very in touch with other people's emotions. I swear I could just be standing next to a stranger, they'll turn to me and like offer me their whole life story. And maybe it's just like my calming demeanor, I would like to think. But also I've definitely seen the impacts of mental illness on like an individual, on a family, on really our society. Navigating my own mental health has brought me here. Went into studying psychology. I think it all kind of wraps around into me not wanting people to feel like they're alone in whatever situation they're going through, because mental health conditions can be very isolating, and just having at least one person makes a difference.
Is there, with what's happening now with the change in the season, we're going into the winter, and it's like today, holy cow, 19 degrees. I woke up this morning. I'll tell you a funny story. I went to drop my kids off at school, and I had to run into Walgreens, and I went with my flip-flops on, not expecting 19 degrees. So that was a shocker. I was like, oh, well, it's kind of cold again. Is there anything that NAMI's doing for the with the cold? I know Josh kind of mentioned something earlier to me about that, so I was just curious what's happening there, or what kind of things you guys are doing this coming season.
I'm a flip-flop girl too. I won't put them away till there's like 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, right.
So we like, are you talking about programming or like education? Because we definitely like do a lot of education about like something like seasonal affective disorder or different types of seasonal like anxiety, grief, stuff like that. We have in the past worked to help a local church with an overnight warming, just like training their staff mostly. I have not heard from them this year. I don't know if they're doing it or not, but we don't do like any warming stations. Josh mentioned
Gotcha.
that earlier on a phone call with me, and I have not seen a release of any information on that.
Okay.
So what have you guys kind of done in the past?
What do you mean?
So like, would you just, with the church, did you just like provide services to train their staff to know what to look for, or if something were to happen, how to de-escalate
Right.
the situation?
Right.
Stuff
More like
that.
de-escalation techniques, and like just being able to recognize if someone's like maybe struggling with an illness and how to provide them the right direction if they would like it.
Right.
I am a strong believer that this is a very underserved part of society, especially today with I think with everything that kids have gone through COVID, with anxiety. Is when I was growing up, anxiety was not a thing, but now it's pretty much an everyday, you hear it all the time now, so it's definitely center stage. It's definitely very important, and I think that for me, that alone, just hitting that topic and bringing mental awareness to the community is so underserved and needs to be more and more and more, as we go into further into society. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's getting better, and it needs to, in my opinion.
Do you think that it wasn't around, or we just didn't have a name for it back then?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I think I'm a little bit older, so I'm the oldest in the group, but we had these issues, but it was told, walk it off, deal with it. Well, what were we told by our fathers? Man up. So it wasn't so prevalent. You weren't allowed to speak of the issues you had. If you had anxiety, if you had depression, a lot of my generation and even like my parents' generation would self-medicate through alcohol or drug abuse, and that's what they would do because they didn't know where to go. It wasn't as available to be able to talk to people. Now that it's been brought to the front light, and we have anxiety caused migraines. Like, you don't know how somebody would be suffering from migraines, not know what the trigger is, but yet their anxiety goes off and that's what causes it. So just those little services now that we know more about, I think is what's helping us, and organizations like yours, Danielle, that educates the community and gives people somewhere they can come to say, who can I talk to? This is what we're going through. I mean, that wasn't around 20, 30 years ago. And there was a stigma involved with anybody that had anxiety, depression, any type of mental illness. It was just like, that was a stigma. You didn't talk about it. So,
well, I think it's unique with you three because it's way less talked about in the like male community too. Like you said, I mean, I can't speak to it because I'm not a male, but just the instances of like, man up, rub some dirt on it, you're fine, get over it, whatever. That's not
that and I'll 100% guilty of having that sort of attitude when I was growing up. But my first panic attack was probably 2007, 2008. And I called 911. I was in the hospital. I went to the hospital. I felt like it was a heart attack. And I had nothing then for a decade. And then I had panic attack after panic attack to the point where I couldn't even drive my kids to school. And I had to get help. And now I'm at the point where I'm 99% okay. Occasionally I still get a flare up, but like when people say that, and now that I've experienced it, I'm like, you don't get it. Like, no, it's not okay. It's absolutely terrifying if it's happening to you. So
it's totally horrible. And like I said, I've had few family members, and it's their story to tell, so I'm not going to talk about it, that suffer from anxiety and depression. But I'll talk about myself. I mean, back in the late 90s, and again, we didn't talk about this. I worked a job where I traveled 26 weeks a year, and I got to a point during that year where when I was home, I wasn't even there. So my wife was like, what's going on with you? I'd get up in the morning and I would sit and eat cereal in a bathrobe, but I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit there, and it was because I was so unhappy with where my life was, what the job I was doing, all those things. And I had no idea where to turn, who to go with, but I was clinically depressed. And, finally talking to one friend, said, well, if you're not doing anything today, come with me to a job site. And that's how I got into construction. So it was just changing my direction, getting out of that sales position I was in and into something that put me outside and kept me busy and kept me working. That's how I got out of it. But I didn't think to go ask for help, go see my doctor, do any of that. I just knew I was very down,
Yeah.
So it's just how it is. Again, that was in the 90s. So, I mean, not many people talked about that in 95 to 97. It's really more in the last decade that people are more open about these things. So,
Question
So
for
that
Danielle.
that being the case, if somebody had something or wanted to seek help, how can they get in touch, or what is their first step?
For our organization,
Mhm.
so they could just, pick up the phone, call our office. Did you want me to mention
Sure,
Okay.
we'll definitely.
oh yeah, give me all that. I mean, I have your website. Give me the
Okay.
phone number. It's going to be up there in the comments as well.
Okay, it's 815-963-2470. And actually, like, a really exciting part to me, I've been the only staff person for the last 6 years, and we just hired 2 people, and they're amazing, breath of fresh airs. One is helping with a lot of the programs and outreach stuff, and then she's actually a mental health advocate, so she will be someone to like talk to again, but also like navigate you through the system that's really messy, and it will just like offer us to have like more time and more people to help more people.
That's awesome. So,
So
how do people get involved? Like, if you're in the community though, and you like want to help, do you do fundraisers? How do you take donations? Like, how, if I wanted to be involved in your organization, donate time, money, whatever, what do we
Yeah.
do? What do you guys do?
Sure. So we are, besides us 3 staff, everyone else is volunteer. So that runs our support groups, that does a lot of our education courses, that does the outreach, fundraising. Our board is all volunteer. So, you can go to our website. There's a application to become a volunteer in any of those capacities. Some of them do require training, like the support groups or the education, and they do require you to have lived experience. So again, being a unique way to touch people by sharing your story, I think that's the best way to learn, someone that's gone through it. But also, like, something like outreach or fundraising doesn't necessarily, you don't have to have that lived experience, so anyone's welcome. But I would say website or phone or email, pretty easy to access.
So now, for people that have questions, is NAMI only for adults? Is it only for children? Is it for both children and adults that can make the phone calls?
Yeah. Just, it's for everyone. So we don't have specific programs for kids under 13. So we have a group, our support groups start from 13 and on. But we do have a parent group for like younger children, just to kind of help them navigate that too. So
And then
Awesome.
remind me if I'm wrong or not. Didn't you win like an award that was like 30 under 30 or something along those lines?
nope.
Weren't you? Weren't you?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
let's talk about that real quick.
I was nominated for the 40 under 40, I think in 2019, possibly.
Wow.
Good times.
Congratulations.
Grateful.
Yes.
Thank you.
I turned
That is a
40
great
in less than a
accomplishment.
month, so I don't think I'm getting there, unfortunately. There's still hope
They
for
don't
you,
they don't
Josh,
do a
if you're-
50-year-old one, so you're done, George.
That's pretty.
Oh,
It's pretty
darn it.
cool because in 2019 you were what, like 26? You're
It's longer.
26.
Wow.
You were one of the 40 under 40. Like that's tremendous. Like
People are just nice to me.
just to have someone that we know that is accomplishing great things in our state line area is pretty cool to hear and see. So we're all super
Yep.
proud of you, Danielle. Do you have any events coming up in the near future that people
Yeah.
are looking to come to or volunteer at or donate to or anything like that?
Sure, come on down. We actually have our Gifts of Hope program on the 13th of December, the second Tuesday of the month. Starting at 5:30 at the main office of Stepping Stones of Rockford, if you guys are familiar. So every year we package, I think this year we're doing over 360 like gift bags for people either in the hospital, in like a group home setting, residential care, crisis care, living with a mental illness. And then we also collect donations for some of our partner organizations, things like hygiene items, winter wear, like hand warmer type things, different stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, everyone's welcome, both to attend and to donate.
That's awesome. Yeah, I must say, like, your organization is absolutely crucial with the kind of work that it does, but also I think that the education piece is very important because sometimes it's not you, but it's somebody you know. I have a close friend, and again, just like I won't share somebody else's story, but I have a very close friend that developed mental illness, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know where to turn, and I almost didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. And luckily, I reached out to sort of a support friend group that I also knew this person, and collectively we figured it out and got him the help. So that part I think is also scary, and a lot of people just will turn the corner or don't do something because that's the easy thing to do, even though they know that somebody's struggling and may need help. So the more education that's out there, and the more you guys kind of yell from the mountaintop, like, hey, it's okay. You don't need to shrug it off. You don't need to rub some dirt on it, like you said. I think that speaks volumes, and people should. It's kind of like that. Don't just turn a blind eye to it.
Right. I mean, I'll say it. I mean, it takes a village. So we have a ton of community partners and organizations that we work with that are amazing, do amazing work as well. So I definitely can't say that we can take all the credit.
Now, do you request grants from other organizations as well to help fund, or is it all just donations that you get from individuals?
Up until this year, it was all like sponsorship or donation and like smaller community grants. But we actually are officially this year funded by the Winnebago County Mental Health Board to expand our program. Yep.
Congrats on that. That's huge.
That's amazing. And I know, like, George and I are both members of the Rockford Cosmopolitan Club. Josh is going to be joining this year. I don't know if you've ever reached out to them, but we have a charities program as well. So next year, have your organization reach out, because we always raise money and then we give that away to different organizations within our community that need help. And I would love to see our organization partner with your organization on a few things, just because it does mean a lot. Like I said, for my family, George, we've all gone through this. We have people to deal with this. And like you said, it's maybe not you, but it's someone you probably know or loved one. So just having a resource right here in Rockford is amazing, because everybody thinks like we don't have enough stuff here. You know, I came from New York City, and like, yeah, you got a lot of places there, but when you think mental health, you think Bellevue Hospital in New York City, and like that's a negative connotation. Like here, it's actually a positive, like to be able to reach out to you guys, get steered in the right direction. We have some great facilities in our area right here that help teenagers, that help adults. So just happy to be a part of it.
I think the statistic, though, I think the stat, isn't it 1 in 4 people walk around with mental illness?
Yeah, I've heard both 1 in 5, 1 in 4. I think it's I think that's a low stat almost. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's still very misunderstood. I just listening to you guys talk to, just going back to, it's part of your body. Like your body's sick, your brain is sick when you have an illness. Like people forget that. They want to disconnect physical and mental health a lot, but it's truly one and the same. Like you said, maybe anxiety is causing chest pains or migraines, stuff like that. And also misunderstood in the fact that I feel like you're right, a lot of people want to talk about depression and anxiety, but still no one wants to talk about like schizophrenia because it's scary to them, and it's very misunderstood. And those are the people that like are sometimes forgotten about, or like it is difficult to help them because maybe a symptom is not knowing that they're ill, and that's a huge barrier to cross. because you don't want to take someone's rights away, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly what I went through with my friend, is schizophrenia. So that is, you hit that one right on the head. That nail right on the head, for sure.
I've had friends who are professionals in our community that go through the, they have their manic state, their depressive states, and it's not a typical depression. It's like, it's totally different. And 1 minute they're the greatest people in the world and they're trying to help everyone. They got all this energy going. And the next minute they're like screaming at you. And it's like, what would I do? And it's like, just trying to be understanding and work with people and understand that they need some help and they don't know how to ask. And that's where the frustration is coming from. That's key, I think. But again, I sell houses for a living. So what do I do?
And I do mortgages for a living, but yeah, but it's funny. It hits everybody.
It does.
And I would argue that everybody listening, everybody knows somebody or has experience with this at some level or some extent. And it's just bringing the awareness, the education, and knowing that they're not alone. Reach out to me. I don't care.
Right.
Like anybody, just don't do it alone.
Or just treat people like people.
Yep. Now, do you get an uptick in calls though, because it is the holiday season? We do have a lot of gray days where we're losing that vitamin D, and just the season itself in Northern Illinois can be very detrimental to mental health with so many gray days. So
For sure.
do you get an uptick this time of year then?
I feel like it's pretty.
Did I freeze or did everybody else freeze? Uh-oh. Josh, George.
What happened?
Everything. All three of you guys froze for a second there, and I had nothing.
Oh.
And now it's telling me my internet is
still
unstable. Uh-oh.
Oh, John. First time John's unstable.
Uh-oh.
What timing for the podcast? Yeah.
Wow.
Way to go.
But no, this is the hard part.
My internet might be unstable. Yeah, but George is unstable walking up the hill at the Bears game, so it's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
See,
I fell uphill 3 times. I know.
My internet provider just raised our rate. It's unstable, and they raised us another $5 a month out of nowhere. Just cost, inflation. And my service is no better. It cuts out more than it's in these days. It's just ridiculous. But sorry about that, guys. So Danielle, as you were saying, you were in the middle of saying something and it just froze. So what was that?
I think I was saying that we don't really have an uptick in calls. I would say it's pretty stable all year long. I mean, crises doesn't stop really. Mental health conditions don't stop. But I would say yes, I agree with you that I can feel the sun being sucked out of my body a little bit when it starts turning gray.
Yeah, it's there's something, and I don't care what anybody says, but there's something about when you wake up and you go outside and it's beautiful, sunny out, and not necessarily warm, just the sun. You just feel so much better about the day, about yourself. So yeah, when I think every winter we hit a streak of, it's been 90 days since we've seen the sun. Those kind of things are they work against you.
It literally messes up your circadian rhythm that you're used to, and it takes you out of your routine. And if you haven't invested in a light therapy lamp, I suggest it. They're really nice, just to put on in the morning next to you. Just don't look directly into it. Because it's the sun.
I've never heard of that. I'll have to check into that.
Yeah,
for sure.
You have one of those lights for your lizard at home.
Yeah, that's my lizard though. It's not a lizard. He's what's it called?
A bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon.
Before you know it, George is gonna have Jeff install a sunlight in the middle of the bedroom. Hey Alexa, turn on my sun lamp. Or my shower.
All right. Funny. All right. So what do we got this weekend, guys? Today is Friday, December 2nd.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a drag brunch at Tad's on the Rock on Saturday. There is the Nutcracker at the Coronado on Saturday. Rockton, Illinois is having this huge weekend festival.
Christmas walk, right?
Yes.
Christmas walk. There's the parade Saturday night. There's, I mean, you name it. They have a whole festival.
Yeah, Rockton has
We
an
t-
amazing thing going on. They got a pub crawl. They've got a parade going on. They've got hot chocolate crawl going on. And you can find everything at rocktonchristmaswalk.com. And then one other event that's happening that's coinciding with that, and shameless plug for the company my wife works for, is on Saturday from 3 to 6 at Hononegah High School, the PAC, the Performing Arts Center. The Winter Spectacular, presented by KidSpot, is going on. You can buy tickets at Eventbrite. If you just go to Facebook, look for Winter Spectacular, you can find it there. But also,
Flesh Bash is Saturday.
Flesh Bash. I was going there.
Yes!
Like, you stole my thunder.
My
So we
annual
will have a
Christmas
link.
party.
We'll have a link to George's address. So
No,
come to
no,
Flesh
we
Bash.
won't. That is an invite only party. So,
And I'm inviting
But-
all our listeners.
oh yeah, but Sunday is only my Christmas every year. Bears Packers Sunday, so I will be there in the teens degrees wearing my Carhartts. It's my Carhartt Open is Sunday at the Bears Packers in Soldier Field tailgate. And I'm really excited because I've been told that we have a special guest joining my tailgate this year for the Bears Packers. It is one of the players' moms. I'll leave it at that.
You gonna Zach Wilson it?
Is Zach? I was going to say, is Zach Wilson going to
No,
your tailgate?
no. How about you? You have anything fun this weekend?
Who?
Who?
What?
Who'd you ask?
Who are you asking?
You. I was asking if you had anything fun to add for the weekend.
Me?
Up. Yeah.
Oh. No, I was supposed to go to Chicago as well, but I'm not any longer. So
Oh.
All right, we have one last question, and I think everyone on my phone call this morning, setting this up, asked the exact same question. So we all gotta know, what is it like living with Garrett?
well, he has the man flu right now, so pretty miserable.
Oh, pretty.
No,
I
I'm just-
hear it's worse
You
than
got to
COVID.
take care of him. That's worse than COVID. Yes.
right?
Yeah,
I
Man
know.
flu is
for
worse
sure.
than COVID.
Man flu.
No, it's
Oh,
good.
That's funny.
We're happy here.
So-
Odie's happy here. That's what matters. He did run away.
Aw.
He hates electronic speaking, I guess. Anything on Zoom.
They have a pretty cool bar, kind of like George's, in their basement that they built themselves. So maybe one Sunday we'll have to go over to their residence and watch some football. Garrett has he has like two 65-inch TVs next to each other. He has
Nice.
a bar with
It's an
another like
man cave,
50-inch TV right there. The red zone going.
So
So
It's playoff game.
Whenever we decide that's going to be, we'll just make sure we share that invite with all the listeners as well, right?
Right.
Yes. But you
Everyone's
have to
welcome
bring.
to have-
But in order to come, you have to bring a donation for NAMI.
There you
Yeah.
go. Oh,
There you go.
Hey.
I'd be all right
Preview
with that.
next week. Next week's going to be a fun episode, guys. I'm already looking forward to it. Next week.
Oh,
it's our,
is that our
next
first
sitting
sitting and
sip.
sipping of the year?
no, it was our
yes.
second. We had
Second.
Friendsgiving. Don't forget.
Oh, Friendsgiving doesn't count. That was
Well,
Yeah.
we were sitting and sipping, so we
That's
was.
true.
And wasn't Garrett supposed to be involved in the sit and sip?
But he had the man.
Then we
flu.
talk.
But he's got.
But he has
man
the man.
We'll have to see. But yeah, you
We'll
guys
have
are
to
in
see.
store every week this season. It's like a surprise for our viewers. Last
Yes.
week with the Friendsgiving with the wives. Now with our first interviewee of our entire podcast. So kudos to you. You did awesome. And then next week is going to be another surprise where we're going to have some interesting footage, and hopefully it goes off without a hitch.
I'm excited.
Well,
It's gonna
be
I
fun.
want to say personally, Danielle, thank you for giving your time today to talk with us, have a conversation with us. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the information. And for more information, please visit NAMINorthernIllinois.org. Making sure I throw that out there for more information on the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Northern Illinois. And all the information will be in the comments. Please, listeners, if you're listening on the podcast, do all the podcast things. I need you to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. And if you're on YouTube, do YouTubey things. And that's, kind of the same. And you could always find a clip of the video and watch us on Facebook at Reppin the Stateline. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody. You guys have a great weekend. You got any last words, George?
Also, since this is our first interview, you could tag the heck out of Danielle and just put it everywhere for the interview. Yeah, so we blast her on Facebook for this wonderful interview that she did. But I don't know, appreciate you coming on for sure.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.